like about a tablespoon of each and put on the parchment paper and froze them, and they became like little chips, like strawberry frozen yogurt chips, and those blew up. And they, ever since seeing that, I said, okay, well, that's there's a pattern here that people love the frozen yogurt stuff.
So, Joey and Vito, welcome to Yodoozy Chit Chat. It's great to have you both with us today. How are you doing?
Great, great, great. Thanks so much for having us.
It's a pleasure. So, Joey Wellness, like your Instagram handle and on TikTok, as well as being followed by hundreds and thousands of people on social media. How did it all start for you?
It started right around COVID, right during COVID, when when I started posting recipes and started posting healthy foods that I eat and healthy recipes that I constantly make, and I just started documenting it and started posting about it and just started putting it out online, because I always had a natural way of eating healthy. I was always having a container of food in my hand with healthy foods in it to eat it, and I would always have healthy lunches at school, or I bring healthy snacks to work. And so bringing the healthy foods and eating the healthy foods is always kind of a natural and automatic way of living for me. I just never realized how it wasn't as automatic or as easy for others. So when others would point it out, my friends would highlight that, to me it was like, this is no big deal. It's like the back of my hand. And so I just started posting online. TikTok kind of blew up, and sort of Instagram really took off during COVID. And so I figured, why not post recipes as well? Why not make an online presence as well? And recipe after recipe, things started picking up, and going down the health and wellness route, things started really picking up online in terms of what content people really wanted to see, or what really brought a lot of traffic or a lot of views. And it turns out that's just, people are always looking for healthy alternatives. People are always looking for a healthier cookie, a healthier soda, a healthier ice cream. Or people want to see another pillar of my content is seeing how much sugar is in a soda, or how much sugar is in an ice cream, or how much sugar is in a chocolate bar. And it just goes to show that, again, to me, the health and wellness, or the nutrition of things, were so apparent to me, were so normal to me, but to others they weren't. So just highlighting that and putting a little bit of a spotlight on those things makes people realize, makes people check twice before buying, kind of thing, or understand and just gain awareness as to what they're putting into their body.
Absolutely. And the kind of engagement that you get on Instagram as well is a testament to the fact that people are looking for those kind of recipes, the healthier alternatives. And you, by the way, have been sharing these new interesting recipes on your social media handles, the healthy snacking recipes, so as to say. And how do you come across these recipes? Do you invent them yourselves, or is there, some method that you follow to get these recipes? How does that work?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 times, the healthy recipes come from, we'll say, an original slash traditional slash regular recipe, and I'll find a way to just shift it to a healthier version. So, for example, I'll find a traditional, regular chocolate chip cookie recipe, and I'll say, okay, well, let's say they're using all-purpose flour, or they're using granulated sugar. Okay, so I can use the same ingredients. I might have to like shift and tweak a few of these things, like let's use a little bit of less sugar, and we'll use coconut sugar instead, and we'll change the flour to maybe 3/4 of a cup, and we'll use oat flour instead to make it gluten-free. So that's how it often comes apart. And a lot of videos that have blown up or that have gone viral is because they're branded branded items into a healthier version. So, for example, like an Oreo cookie, I'll find a way to make it a healthy Oreo cookie. So by incorporating that brand name, there's a little bit of recognition, a little bit of familiarity. So people tend to tune towards that, because they know, well, most people know that an Oreo cookie isn't quote unquote the healthiest thing to put into your body, but they'll appreciate that there's a healthier version for it.
Absolutely. And I think that, like when you're talking about known recipes, it becomes a little bit easier for people to grasp and understand what they are supposed to taste like, uh, as compared to, like the healthy recipes that you see others putting out, like at times you don't even hear about these ingredients, and like people are talking about making something that you have never tasted. You don't know what is going to be the texture, the smell,
Right.
the taste. And here you are recreating, popularly known recipes in your own unique way, which are much more healthier, by the way. So
Exactly that, right? It goes for anything. It go for a soda, for apple pie, um, a Pop Tart, anything that's even candy. I mean, we figured out to make a healthy candy. Like I saw a similar healthy candy recipe on TikTok. I put my own twist on it, and it goes bananas. It goes viral, because it's like, how the heck can you find a healthy candy from a fruit?
that's great. In your videos, like you normally focus on finding alternatives to sugar and also other fast food supplements. How do you strike a nutritional balance in your recipes with ingredients that you come up with?
Sorry, can you give me a little more context on that? What do you mean exactly by
Right.
by
Say, for
ingredients?
example, the traditional recipes as such, like which were created, they would have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and everything will have that perfect harmony, that perfect nutritional balance that you would need to eat. Say, for example, a soup which needs to be eaten in winters, or, like chicken soup, which you would want to have like when you're not feeling well. So similarly, like what's the purpose behind creating these recipes, and how does the nutritional value of all the ingredients match up to them? Because
Yeah.
when you're creating these recipes, they are alternatives, they are healthier alternatives, absolutely, yes. But when should people eat them, how much quantity they should eat them in, etc.
For sure, for sure. That's where context comes in, right? Like, I'll say, for example, I'll make a healthier Oreo cookie, but it has 3 times the amount of calories than a regular cookie. So in terms of caloric content or caloric density, for sure, mine are way higher in calories. So if you're focusing on calories, or if you're in a calorie deficit, a caloric deficit, and you're trying to lose weight, I'd say, my cookie is not ideal for you. However, I like to look at food and recipes in terms of micronutrients more than macronutrients. So I understand that I'd rather eat an Oreo cookie that contains raw honey, maple syrup, oat flour, grass-fed butter, coconut oil. To me, that's all just whole and natural ingredients that have been on this planet for thousands of years. In comparison to high fructose corn syrup or all-purpose bleached flour. What else? Ingredients that have just been modified and tweaked. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying I prefer to choose whole and natural foods that have been on this planet for the past thousands of years. And when it comes to choosing ingredients that are healthier, it really depends what your goals are. So for someone that's looking for a low calorie dessert or a low calorie meal, well, I might not be the guy for that. I might be, but I might not be, because a lot of my recipes, if I'm using coconut oil to replace, or excuse me, if I'm using maple syrup to replace table syrup, well, maple syrup has a lot more calories than table syrup. However, it's a lot more natural, and there are a lot more properties to support it, and a lot more antioxidants. Just as an example, I'm not saying that maple syrup contains
That clarifies
antioxidants.
a lot of things for us as well, and absolutely using natural ingredients in your food, etc., can save a couple of harmful effects as well on the body. So that's all great. And now that you have been doing this for quite a few years, what has been your worst and best memory? Like
That's a great question. Best memory for sure has been recently where um, it was the strawberry froyo bites. That was such an easy recipe to make. It took maybe like 30 minutes of my time at most, and it hit 22 million views on Instagram.
yeah.
Right? That's what really gave me the skyrocketing boost. And then when it comes to making a recipe that takes me, for example, 4 hours, that'll get like 10,000 views. That'll get like 1% of my audience. So it's funny how it's like the irony is just the less it's that my partner Vito says it's the 20-80 rule, right? You give 20 to receive 80, whereas a lot of recipes where I'm giving 80 and I receive 20. It's just the same. It's just a quote, but it's oftentimes true. And worst memory for sure has been, I wouldn't say I have a worst memory, but who knows what the worst memory is? Good question. Let me think. Um, Probably I wouldn't say worst memory, but like maybe like a tougher memory has been Obviously, like the down waves and that's always an up and down wave. So the down waves are obviously not the funnest times.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get high highs and low lows. And probably it's like when you first start gaining traction and first start making a mark in the online world. When people start to know you and you start to get a lot of backlash or a lot of negative comments, the first few times it's an icebreaker. So you don't know how to respond to it, you don't know how to absorb it. So that was a little tough for me, but I had a lot of help and a lot of guidance. And knowing that like it's only normal, like once it's these are levels, I guess, in the content creation world or even in the online world, right? When you have an online presence, you gotta get to the haters, and not, we'll say haters, but the negative comments, right? And someone even told me where it's like if people aren't talking bad about you, that means you're not making enough noise. So it's a good thing that they're talking bad about you.
Absolutely. Any type of publicity is publicity after all. So you cannot, like shy away from that now that you're a social media personality as well. I'm talking about you being present on social media as somebody who gives a lot of health advice, a lot of healthy recipes out to people. How health conscious are you in real life?
I'll say 98%. 98%. That's what do you want? I don't know how to gauge that or how to measure that, but it also, again, like I tell everyone, it's like, how do you define health? Like you might call a strawberry cheesecake healthy because you're trying to gain weight, so it has high calories, so it's benefiting you in terms of gaining weight, for sure. But then it's like so the health is really a subjective term, and so is healthy food. But what you see online, it's how I live 95% of my lifestyle, right? Like there are times where I'll have I don't know, where I'll have a strawberry cheesecake and I might not post about it, but to me it's like whether I post about it or not, like how much of a difference is that going to make in your life? How much value are you as a listener or as a follower, as a viewer, gaining from that?
Right. And when we talk about, a healthy lifestyle, healthy living, or being health conscious, what we basically mean is, are you watching your diet? Are you adapting physical exercises, etc., in real life? Uh, are you consciously trying to keep yourself mentally fit? Because all these things come into the picture at the end of the day. Coming to that, like what are the essential things that one should know before switching to a healthy diet as such, like before they even start? What are the parameters that they should always look out for before picking up any recipe?
Good question. It's I say this often where it's like you don't want to jump into it cold turkey, or not even cold turkey. You don't want to jump into it, the 0 to 100 approach, a 0 to 100 quick approach. It's because you're eventually going to stop. It's the 0 to 100 works for the first 3 weeks, but after 3 weeks, you're back to default. You're back to normal. So you're the best approach is to start gradually. It's like if you're looking at my page or my brand, it's like, guys, it's like it also took me, we'll say like 3, 4, 5, 6 years to become this level where I'm at now, to live this life where I'm at now. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen after 2 months. So it's like start small. So for example, what's starting small? Well, tonight, let's get to a Saturday night, hanging out with some friends. Instead of going to order some ice cream or go to order some chocolate cake, let's make this easy 3 ingredient ice cream. Let's make that. Let's get these ingredients, and it costs us $8. We'll be able to make 10 cups of ice cream with it, and it's healthy ice cream, stuff like that. Or it's like, okay, well, like tomorrow morning when I wake up, instead of reaching out on my nightstand to grab my phone, let me just step outside for 5 minutes and like expose myself to the natural light. Um, or before having this cup of coffee this morning, let me just have a sip of water, not even a glass, a sip of water. Right? It's that simple. Drink, like choke yourself. No, don't choke yourself, but like sip that water, one sip, even 1 tablespoon of water, then have your coffee. Right? Um, Stuff like that. It's really, really like minuscule and baby step stuff, right? And it's posted everywhere, right? Even like when you're traveling or when you're going to work, it's like they tell you, don't take the stairs, not the escalator, right? Take the stairs, not the elevator. Stuff like that too. It's just some simple stuff. It might take a little extra time, but it's so worth in the long term. And so it's all about baby steps.
Absolutely. And talking about them, like one question that most people have in their mind when they're looking at making this conscious choice, making that conscious decision to, switch to healthier recipes is usually, will that taste as good as the food that I'm eating right now? You know, what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. my palate has changed. My palate has transformed over time, right? But that again, that comes to everyone with time, right? When you stop eating powdered donuts after eating them for the past 3 years of your life, give yourself that 3 year break. Give yourself that 3 month break. You're gonna notice that when you go to eat it again after eating whole foods in those 3 months, you're gonna be like, "Holy cats, this does taste processed. It does taste fake." Like you feel it in your teeth when you bite down. You know, like we have. Look at this. We have beautiful teeth. Like these teeth are meant to break down food, not like look at your teeth when you bite into a steak or a or what else? A grass-fed burger compared to when you bite into a croissant, when you bite into a slice of toast. Like your teeth don't work the same. They're not supposed to be biting into a piece of bread or a piece of croissant. They're meant to bite into like real whole foods, And for sure, like my version of a healthy Pop Tart won't taste the same as the store bought Pop Tart. Excuse me, 100%. Um, you might taste mine a little more dry, or a little more flaky, a little more like it breaks down easily, or you'll taste a lot more of the fruit. It might taste a little more bitter because there's a lot more fruit and not as much corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. So a lot of the store bought stuff, the snacks, the desserts, the treats, guys, like they're jam loaded with sugar. From high fructose corn syrup to what else? To granulated sugar, to molasses and rice syrup and all that kind of stuff. A lot of syrups and a lot of sweeteners. That's like it's normal. It's gonna taste good because there's all kinds of sweetness in there. So you're not actually tasting the raspberry in a Pop Tart. You're tasting the sweetness of the Pop Tart. Whereas my Pop Tart, you're tasting the actual raspberry, which is why it's a little more bitter because it's not jam packed with syrups. So it's like, yes, at first you might not like it because it's not as sweet because your palate, your mouth, your taste buds are adapted to that kind of sugar, to the processed sugars, we'll say, or the refined sugars. When you start eating whole foods, you start to appreciate whole foods and whole natural foods because you start to understand and actually taste it.
Right. And Joy, I can clearly see you're very passionate about the thing that you're doing, and you know a great deal about the kind of foods and the ingredients that you want to present to your audience. Talking about it, who is your inspiration in life and in the work that you do as well on social media? Do you have
Hmm.
personalities that you follow, or events that have inspired you?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are a few for sure, and not just in the healthy eating space or just in the food space. Like there are a few there too. Like I'd say probably one of the top ones is Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins just he hits well, we won't say all, but almost all of the pillars that are needed to live a healthy lifestyle, right? He talks about from finances to mindset to physical therapy, like physical exercising, um, to spirituality to healthy eating. So he really encompasses every single element or every single pillar that is needed to live a healthy lifestyle. So I think it's very, very inspiring. And I've read a lot of his books and I've watched a lot of his videos, and he hits the nail on the head every single time because he's absolutely right. He's one for sure. There's even another nutritionist I follow online. His name is Live Vitae, and Ryan Carter's his name. He talks a lot about eating, whole and natural foods, right? Like eating nose to tail diet, or what's it called, head to fin for the fish. I forget what it's called. Like head to what is it? Nose to tail and horn to hooves kind of diet, right? Like from eating the liver, the heart, the kidney. Um, the bone marrow, that too. So and speaking of that kind of food, like even like Liver King recently made a loud appearance online. It's like his way of living is spot on, spot on. It's ancestral way of living, right? How did our ancestors live? They lived by eating horn to hooves, nose to tail, and mindset, and dominating your environment, and like being outside in the sun, not to fear the sun, to drink real water, to move the body. The body's not meant to be seated for 8 hours. It's meant to be moving all the time, right? Our body is seated for 8 hours during sleep, not during work. And pushing your limits and stuff like that. So it's really all about like, having a strong mindset, having a strong dominance in your life, inflicting your will onto the world, right? Having the world live your way kind of thing. Not in a bad or evil way, but just making your own path.
Absolutely. It's all about conquering your mind and then conquering your body, as
You got it.
quote goes. So when we are talking about that, like a lot of the times, one other thing that dissuades people from moving to a healthier diet is that they think that healthy eating is very expensive. So as to say, it's a rich people thing, as a lot of them would end up saying, we survive on fast food because it's cheap. Right. So, what do you think, about such statements? Do you think is it still true, or are there ways to eat healthy, eat more natural, and still keep the budget on the lower side?
100%. There are always ways, and because people think that, again, it depends how you define and how you perceive healthy eating or healthy food, right? But it's like you're much better off going to the dollar store, right? And you could buy a can of vegetables for $1.25, right? So you buy a can of vegetables, you could buy a can of tuna, maybe some rice cakes, some rice crackers, some olives. You're looking at $3, $4, and that's your dinner, right? And that could probably give you some leftovers, maybe not. So it's like, and listen, it's like what I say is that the top quality, definitely not. You don't want to be buying canned vegetables or canned tuna for the rest of your life. However, if you were given the choice of between that or fast food, the answer is obvious, right? In terms of budget, you're saving 3 times the price, and you're gaining a lot more nutrition. So you know, it's like there's always the option. There's always the, let's say, the healthier way or the healthier alternative, right? That's like if you're comparing organic vegetables compared to canned vegetables, of course, organic vegetables win. But let's put that on the side for now. We're on a budget, so let's talk about this. Let's use what we can. Let's do what we can and use what we have. So we have canned vegetables, we have frozen vegetables, we have canned meat, right? Even if it's canned chicken, for heaven's sakes, I know it might taste disgusting, but you're better off going with canned chicken than deep fried chicken nuggets from a fast food joint. So that's my answer to that.
And like people might have asked you a lot of questions in their comments on your videos, etc. Any interesting comments that you would like to share with us?
For sure. A lot of comments is when they when they talk about my appearance. I think that's so funny. They say like I don't know, like, yo, what's wrong with this guy's eyebrows? Or or why does he sound like that? Why does he talk like that? And because a lot of my videos, the way I start them or the way I pronounce words is a little more slow. So just I make it so that everyone can understand my video, right? Someone that's in I don't know, in Russia doesn't speak English proficiently. Is that a word? Proficiently? All right. They might not understand my quick speaking English at the beginning. So that's why I slow down a lot of the words, a lot of the intros, right? For example, I'll say, if you're looking for a healthier snack, right? I'll say it slow just so that it's catching. But if I say, if you're looking for a healthier snack, if your first language is not English, you might not understand or catch that. So a lot of the comments is that we'll talk about my appearance or the way I speak, the way I sound. Um, a lot of it too is when they think that my title is misleading. So, for example, I'll put 3 ingredient vanilla and ice cream, right? But then in the video, I then demonstrate that there are 5 ingredients. However, the 3 ingredients are really the main pillars. So I'm saying all you need is milk, honey, and vanilla. And then the salt and black pepper, I incorporate those in the video. However, those 2 ingredients are optional. You don't need those to make this. So those two are probably the top two categories of comments that I get is appearance and
See,
and recipe.
the perks of social media, right? Um,
100%.
so, see, lately we have been seeing a lot of videos where you've been using yogurt in your recipes, etc., as well. And those quick recipes that you come up with, would you like to tell us about how did it all start for you? Experimenting with yogurt, frozen yogurt related recipes, etc., as well.
Yeah, the first ever frozen yogurt recipe I made was was probably back in February or March of 2021. It was one of my first videos that went viral. Actually, I saw it from a guy that I follow. His name is it's Razzie, and he makes a lot of frozen yogurt treats as well, a lot of healthy meals. So he's another influencer that I look up to as well and get ideas from. And so I made exactly his recipe, his frozen yogurt berry bars, and those blew up. And then after that, last summer as well, like we'll say in September, August, July, August, September of 2021, um, I did a whole series of frozen yogurt bars, like cubes, pretty much like cubes, like mixing yogurt with matcha powder, making matcha frozen yogurt, or blending it with peaches, or mixing yogurt with peanut butter, or blending yogurt with raspberries and making more raspberry froyo bars. And then I accidentally made a not accidentally, but I made a version where I didn't have enough yogurt with this is the strawberry froyo bites I'm talking about. I didn't have enough yogurt, so I said let me make little like spoonfuls, like dollops of it's called dollops with the spoons. I didn't have enough yogurt to make a whole bar, so I said like okay, there'll be like little bites, like little discs. And so I took about a tablespoon of each and put on the parchment paper and froze them, and they became like little chips, like strawberry frozen yogurt chips, and those blew up. And they, ever since seeing that, I said okay, well, that's there's a pattern here that people love the frozen yogurt stuff, that they see it as a healthy alternative or a healthy frozen treat. So I said, how else can we manipulate frozen yogurt and use it into other recipes or other ideas?
Interesting. And Joey, you share a lot of snack related recipes as well. And, what we'll want to know is out of all the recipes that you've shared until now, if you were to pick one each for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what would you?
Shit, that's a good question. One, yikes.
Something possibly that you could continue eating for the rest of your life, every day.
Wow. Oof. I would say the frozen yogurt is up there for sure because it's just so easy to make. The frozen yogurt bites or the chips or the frozen yogurt bars, those are super easy to make. However, you have to wait a little bit for it to freeze, so it takes a little bit of more time just for the freezing point. Otherwise, it would be I think last year, at the beginning of last year, I made these 70-calorie oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, and those are one of my top ones, man. Those were fantastic. Yeah. That and even the sour grapes. The sour grapes are absolutely phenomenal. It literally, if you like Sour Patch Kids or if you like sour candy, you're gonna love these. They're a healthier version. I swear, it's like sour. It's literally grapes, toss them with lime juice, a little bit of salt, a little bit of stevia extract. You coat it, you freeze it for a few minutes, and oh man! So sour candy and a 70-calorie cookies and the frozen yogurt bites. Those are top three.
Amazing. Yeah, we are definitely going to try them on. So, Joy, you've been doing this for a couple of years now. You are a social media influencer. You are a known figure on Instagram, on TikTok, and other social media platforms as well. So, what can we expect to see more from you in the future? Where are you headed? What are your future plans now?
To the moon. No. We're planning to make. We're not planning. We're in the works of making Joey Wellness the one-stop shop for wellness. Eventually, I will be branching out into fitness, into meditation, into mindfulness, yoga, journaling, everything that encapsulates wellness will be found at Joey Wellness. Eventually there will be Joey Wellness snacks, Joey Wellness products, Joey Wellness merchandise, objects, Joey Wellness centers, right? Literally actual venues, actual centers, having everything you need. So again, a one-stop shop for wellness. It might be an online center, it might be an in-person center. Time will tell, but for sure, we're planning to make Joey Wellness the Amazon of wellness, where it's you come to Joey Wellness, you have everything you need. If you need help with grocery shopping, you want to buy better food, better produce, better snacks, you'll have it all. The recipes, exercises. If you want Tabata exercise, you want boot camp exercise, you want weightlifting exercises, it's gonna be a one-stop shop for all. So the team is expanding as we speak, and we are branching out. It's just that things are still being finalized. So we're looking at a 40-year project here. That's never gonna stop.
Yeah, that's very interesting and amazing on your part. To be branching out so much and to have your fingers in so many things at the same time. So that's great. We wish you all the best with that. And on that note, we would like to thank you for joining us for this wonderful discussion, Joey, and also Vito. I'm sure our audience would also find it insightful. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.